When life overwhelms you, which it will, here's 3 things to do right away to kind of get back on track. What's up, everyone? This is Anik. Welcome to this podcast. Just few little things to let you know. This podcast, which is currently called The Fighting Entrepreneur, is going to change very soon. We're a little bit delayed, all right? I got a lot going on. Lots of events, lots of crazy stuff. Holidays are coming. It's going to change very soon to the Anik Singal show, which is when we will reinitiate our interviews. That's right. I got some great interviews lined up. But today, on this episode, I just want to spend a few minutes with you and I want to talk about something that's very real. Let's have a real conversation, okay? Life. Sometimes it sucks. And I've been mystified by one thing about life. And I'll tell you, it still confuses me. I don't understand why it works like this, although I believe there's something in the laws of physics that maybe explains it. And you ever heard that saying, when it rains, it pours? But it also goes the other way, right? So I've noticed that when good things are happening, lots of good things happen. It's just overwhelming. Success attracts success. But when bad things happen, so do a lot of bad things. It's almost like the negative attracts the negative. So where do I think in physics this might be explained? I think in the entire Newton's laws of physics, there's something that talks about momentum, where it's the old car model where if you're pushing a car to get it to move, you have to push it really, 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 really hard. You have to just push it really hard. And then once it's finally moving, it's got momentum. It's much easier to keep moving. Well, if you got momentum of good things happening, it's probably much easier to keep good things happening. If you got momentum of bad things happening, maybe that's the momentum that's easier to do, right? I don't know. I don't want to get all sciencey here, and I certainly don't want to get all woo-woo personal development, but the bottom line is it's a fact. I've seen it again and again. So this is why sometimes, I've heard of people having nervous breakdowns. I have not really had one myself, but if I were to be honest with you, which I always am on this podcast, I've been damn close. And it is not a nice feeling. I will say that what I've had for the first time really experienced since COVID. I think COVID messed with my brain a little bit and hope it goes away, but I have experienced on multiple occasions now since COVID, like anxiety attacks. And it's really weird, man. I remember someone would talk about anxiety attacks and I'd be like, just get over it. Just relax. Just calm down. Stop stressing. Well, it's not that easy. And so it's interesting. I'm seeing, I actually am in very many ways, I'm kind of like thankful that I'm having these because I was never empathetic towards them. And a lot of people in my family actually have anxiety and depression. So I'm much more empathetic towards it. But I'm looking at just around people, you see people that have a nervous breakdown. You see people that give up. You see people that just fall, life is taking it out of them. And there are some people that I feel get overwhelmed very regularly. I'm not one of them. So if I ever tell you I'm overwhelmed, I'm really overwhelmed. Like it's yeek. It's bad. So I've been thinking a lot about this. And this year for me has been a very interesting reinvention, right? Like I'm really making a lot of changes. As you could tell, I'm changing the podcast. I'm changing my social media. I'm changing the markets we go after. I'm changing how I teach. I'm bringing events back. Like it's just a lot. Had a baby. It's a little overwhelming. And so there's been a few times where I've been like, it's just too much. And so I've noted what I do, right? Luckily for me, I've been an entrepreneur now for over 20 years. I've been through some really trying times in my life. And I think innately I've built some mechanisms and I want to share what those are with you today. Number one, it's going to sound very, very, very simple, but let me tell you, it's the most powerful. Most of us never, ever, ever do this. You ready? Step back. What? No, we must always hustle and push forward and fight and push and push. Well, that's the problem. You got to push back. I'm sorry, you got to step back, not push back. I know you push back. I always say when life gets up, you push back. But I don't say when life gets overwhelming, you push back. It's weird. When you're overwhelmed, do you know what you're doing? A lot of people get overwhelmed and they feel like they get stressed out. They get anxious. What is anxiety? Anxiety is the fear of the unknown. So the more anxious you get, the more you attempt to capture the unknown. The more you try to capture the unknown means the more you are doing to actually push to do. Think about it. You don't know something, so you're going to push harder until you know it, but it's the pushing that's making you overwhelmed, which is making you more anxious of the unknown, which makes you push harder to resolve the unknown. It's a freaking cycle. So you know what I do? I literally just let go. So I'll sense it and I'll say, okay, I shut off for a day. Sometimes even less. And all I do is I just say, I'm not doing anything. This isn't how I'm going to be. I am going to take control over this in a completely unexpected way. And that is I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to take a day off today. I'm going to binge and watch Netflix. I'm going to go out. I'm going to work on the yard. I'm going to call my best buddy up, hit, happy hour. I'm going to take my wife on a date. I'm not going to do anything but work or engage in any of the things that are creating that overwhelm. I'm just going to take a break. This year, there have been moments where my wife and I felt overwhelmed as parents, right? So we called the nanny and said, hey, we need some extra hours. We're taking a break on Saturday. Can you come clock a few extra hours? Like, you just gotta it's okay. A lot of people feel a lot of guilt over that, okay? And I get that. And I'm not saying that you're giving up on your baby or anything like that. No, it's a few hours. It's okay to step back and give yourself, you know what happens? You get perspective when you step back. When you stop pushing, you get a moment to catch your breath. If you're running really, really fast, at some point, you're going to lose your breath. What do you do to catch your breath? You stop. You slow down. And that's what you got to do. All right. I know I've talked a lot about this. You're like, oh, really? This is it? This is your big win? Hold on. Okay. I'm telling you, do you really do it? Can I ask you something? Are you overwhelmed right now? Are you stressed out? Are you full of anxiety? Are you pushing harder? Or are you taking a step back? I bet you're pushing harder. All right. Number 2. Write it down. What do I mean by that? Okay, so you ready? What is overwhelm? Many times, the reason we are overwhelmed or stressed out by all the things we have to do, right? So like, oh my God, I have to get the groceries today, and then I have to take little Timmy to the soccer game, and then, oh my God, the boss asked for that report. I have to submit that today. I can't forget that. I can't go to bed. Oh, and I have to pick this up, and I have to, oh God, I gotta help him with the homework. There's a multitude of things, right? But that's how your brain's going. That's actual stress. That's a lot of times a big part of the overwhelm. Well, it's because you're forcing yourself to remember. I cannot tell you how much it has fundamentally helped my life to stop having to remember crap. So there are 2 things. I made an episode about this recently. It's probably coming out or has come out, but there are 2 apps I use on my phone. Actually, sorry, I made a short video about this, not an episode. Notepad, it's on my phone right here, okay? On my phone, Notepad. It's for free. If you have Android, it's whatever it's called there. I think actually it's called Notes on iPhone. These are free apps. Literally, if I have had a thought, oh my God, pick up groceries, boom, 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 I write it down. I schedule it. I have to remember now. And I'm obsessed about using my task lists. So I know if it's on my task list, I'm not going to forget it. So that's first probably I should say is you build a habit of using a task list, and then write things down. And then I use Asana. You can use Trello, ClickUp, Basecamp, Monday. There's a gazillion of them. And my buddy Brad Callen's coming up with one called Teamly, so shout out to him. We use Asana. And so I have the Asana app on my phone. And so here's how I do my day, okay? Throughout the day, I'll have these moments. Oh my God, I gotta do this. Oh my God, I gotta do this. Oh my God, I gotta do this. I write it all down. I don't have time to open Asana and do all that, so I just write it down in notes. And sometimes during lunch or at the end of the day, I quickly look at my notes and I transfer the thing from notes over to my Asana and I assign it. I create a task out of it. Now I assign it to myself, I put notes in it, I put a date on it, or I assign it to a team member or to my wife, and it's out of my head. So good. So now all I have to remember is Anik, check Asana. As long as I can remember to check Asana, no task that is important in my life will go forgotten. Oh my God, just saying it makes me feel so relieved. So adapt the culture, assigning tasks and creating tasks. And last but not least, this is my favorite. This is gonna be the one that gives you the most anxiety. You ready? Even though our goal is to get rid of anxiety. Delete. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is delete. So many things that you currently are forcing yourself to do and you think are important that just aren't. They just aren't. You know that one thing that you need to do, or that one social media thing you need to do, or that one networking thing you need to do. Like, it could wait. It could wait a week. It could wait 2 weeks. It could wait a month. It could wait 2 months. Ain't nothing gonna change. So another component of overwhelm. So there's that first component, which is like having to remember, which creates overwhelm. The second big component of overwhelm is just too many things. Just too much. You can only do so much. I'm giving you permission to delete, okay? Or at least move aside. Every time I've ever been overwhelmed, there has been a series of things that I can just remove from my plate or push. And so I typically, are you ready for this? I'm working off of a rough ballpark, so I'm not like, this isn't a scientifically mathematical number. I have not tracked this. I do not have studies to back it. I would tell you about a third, if not a little bit more, of the tasks usually on my plate get thrown out. When I actively sit down and say, oh my God, look at my Asana task. Do I really need to do all of this today? My day looks insane. I got 32 things assigned today. Ain't no way that's happening. Why would I create myself unnecessary stress? Okay, how many of these can I assign out to somebody else? Okay, how many of these can I move to next week or the next month? And I typically will get rid of a third, if not more, of my tasks on the spot. That, plus you schedule them out, plus they're not in your head anymore, and bam. And you take a day off or take a step back, you can regroup from overwhelm very fast. There you go. Nice and simple. Listen, head on over to anikpodcast.com, A-N-I-K, podcast, P-O-D-C-A-S-T.com to binge listen to all of our amazing episodes. Remember, this show is changing from The Fighting Entrepreneur to The Anik Singal Show. It's going to happen any day now. We're going to have amazing guests. We're getting lined up. It's going to be a really fun 2023. Love you guys. Keep fighting for your dreams, all right? Not hustling, just fighting. Keep that fight alive. All right, this is Anik reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back, but not when life overwhelms you. Take a step back when it does that. All right, see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.